Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Uttama Bhakti Bhavati Naishtake. Hare Krishna to all you Samba devotees. Today we'll be reading from Canto 8, chapter 23, starting with text 16. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantra and observing the regulative principles, and moreover, there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. But when your lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. Text 17. Lord Vishnu, I must nonetheless act in obedience to your order, because obeying your order is most auspicious and is the first duty of everyone. Text 18. Sukadev Goswami continued, in this way, the most powerful Sukacharya accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full respect. Along with the best Brahmanas, he began to compensate for the discrepancies in the sacrifices performed by Bali Maharaj. Text 19. O King Parikshit, thus having taken all the land of Bali Maharaj by begging, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vamanadev, delivered to his brother Indra all the land taken away by Indra's enemy. Text 20 to 21. Lord Brahma, the master of King Daksha, and all other Prajapatis, accompanied by all the demigods, the great saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, the Manus, the Munis, and such leaders as Daksha, Bregu, and Angira, as well as Kartikeya and Lord Shiva, accepted Lord Vamanadev as the protector of everyone. He did this for the pleasure of Kashyapa Muni and his wife Aditi, and for the welfare of all the inhabitants of the universe, including their various leaders. Text 22 to 23. O King Parikshit, Indra was considered the king of all the universe, but the demigods headed by Lord Brahma wanted Upendra, Lord Vamanadev, as the protector of the Vedas, the principles of religion, fame, opulence, auspiciousness, vows, elevation to the higher planetary systems, and liberation. Thus, they accepted Upendra, Lord Vamanadev, as the supreme master of everything. This decision made all living entities extremely happy. Text 24. Thereafter, along with all the leaders of the heavenly planets, Indra, the king of heaven, placed Lord Vamanadev before him, and with the approval of Lord Brahma, brought him to the heavenly planet in a celestial airplane. Text 25. Indra, king of heaven, being protected by the arms of Vamanadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus regained his rule of the three worlds and was reinstated in his own position, supremely opulent, fearless, and fully satisfied. Text 26 to 27. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Kartikeya, the great sage Brigu, other saintly persons, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, and all other living entities present, including inhabitants of Siddhaloka and living entities who travel in outer space by airplane, all glorify the uncommon activities of Lord Vamanadev. O King, while chanting about and glorifying the Lord, they return to their respective heavenly planets. Thus, they also praise the position of Aditi. Text 28. O Maharaj Parikshit, the pleasure of your dynasty I have now described to was everything about the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamanadev. Those who hear about this are certainly freed from all the results of sinful activities. Text 29. One who is subject to death cannot measure the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Trivikrama, Lord Vishnu, and many more that he can count a number of atoms on the entire planet Earth. No one, whether born already or destined to take birth, is able to do this. This has been sung by the great sage Vashishta. Text 30. If one hears about the uncommon activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations, he is certainly elevated to the higher planetary system or even brought back home, back to Godhead. Text 31. Whenever the activities of Vamanadev are described in the course of ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please one's forefathers in Pitraloka, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be extremely auspicious. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna Chaitanya Chandradas Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Prabhuji, please take over the call. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Devi Shakti Mataji, for reading our translations today. And thank you, dear devotees, for coming together this morning to discuss and conclude this wonderful description of Sri Vaman Dev's Leela today. I'll start by offering my prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langayate girim yad kripa tamham vande Shri Gurudin Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are reading the last part of Sri Vamandev's Leela today, and this will conclude the Leela. And from tomorrow onwards, we'll move on to the next wonderful description of one of Lord's different incarnation. So just to summarize so far, we have seen that Bali Maharaj, he was captured by the associates because he was not able to fulfill his promise, and how once he offers his obeisances and he glorifies the Lord along with his grandfather Shri Prahlad Maharaj, both of them depart for Sutala Lok as instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that fashion, once they have departed, now Vamandev talks to the Bali Maharaj's guru, Shukracharya, and asks him to identify what were the shortcomings in Bali Maharaj's sacrifice and yagya, and to go ahead and fulfill those that sacrifice that was in the process. So in response to that, we see how Shukracharya, glorifies the Lord and glorifies the names of the Lord. We start from text 16 today. In the shloka, Shukracharya has so wonderfully described about the power of the holy name that when I was preparing for this discussion, I felt we could just talk about this one shloka the whole time. But I'll try to do justice and do my service and include the other shlokas as well. So in this we see Shukracharya is now responding to Sri Vamandev, and he says, Mantratas Tantratas Chidram, that there may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras or in performing the regulative principles while doing any kind of sacrifice. And moreover, there may also be discrepancies in Desha Kala Vastu, means place, time, and paraphernalia that are being used. Now we know that we see so many different kind of rituals and sacrifices that are mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, and so many people are so absorbed and engaged in performing them. But we should realize that it's so difficult to conduct these particular sacrifices immaculately without any mistakes or shortcomings. So we see that first of all, the sacrifice has to be done at a particular time, in a particular kal, the shubh muhurat, that is the auspicious time. We've seen practical experiences how difficult it is for for people to show up on time for any particular event. So it's very difficult that we can actually even fulfill the particular sacrifice in the given time that is recommended. Next is the desha, the particular place. We see every place in this Kalyug is so contaminated that it's difficult to find a place that is perfectly sanctified and holy, that we can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead through sacrifice. As well as the paraphernalia. We see everything that we get in this Kali Yuga is in one way or the other contaminated. Even the sacrificial fruits sometimes we offer, may not be organic and may be genetically modified. So even the basic things that we have to offer in sacrifice, we do not get in a proper fashion. And that is what Shukracharya is responding to Sri Vaman Dev and saying that there are so many discrepancies while we do a sacrifice in terms of time, place, and person. But the only saving grace, Sarvam Karoti Nishchidram, that which can nullify the offenses, the shortcomings of all these different aspects of performing a sacrifice, is when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. Anu Sankirtanam Tava, your glories of your holy name are chanted, then that nullifies all the shortcomings of a particular sacrifice. And with this, Srila Prabhupada has given a wonderful purport, and I'd recommend devotees, if you have time, to go through the purport for shloka number 16 today, and I'll just elaborate a little bit on it. Srila Prabhupada starts with quoting the shloka that we're all familiar with. Hari Name, Hari Name, Hari Name va Kevalam, Kalau Nasti Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Gatir Annatha. That there is no other way in the age of Kali, which is so degraded. We've just seen examples of how we can't even live up to the standards of time, place, paraphernalia, that there is no hope for the people of Kali other than taking shelter of the holy name. And I'll go through some of the other glorifications of the holy name, and we'll see some wonderful examples from our Shastras that allow us to understand and appreciate how powerful the holy name is. So once what had happened, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was conducting an exam for the brahmacharis in his mutt. So he wanted to see who's reading how much and how much they're advancing in Krishna consciousness. So he was going to conduct an exam. This was a written exam, and he gave out the question paper, and he gave the brahmachari students about a couple hours to answer it. Now, just imagine if His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comes to Baltimore and he gives us this question paper about how much we have understood in Krishna consciousness. I think most of us, even though we are so educated and qualified, I think first we won't even understand the questions on the question paper. And then we'll have to scratch our head and figure out whether we really are so abreast with the tattva and the gyan and the understanding of the higher elevations of Krishna consciousness. Anyhow, so the brahmacharis, they did their honest attempt, and they answered all the questions. And at the end of it, His Vangas Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took the question papers and he gave it to the cook in the kitchen to mark these question papers. The brahmacharis were very shocked. And he said, Gurudev, how can this new devotee who has come just and is cooking, only Seva is cooking, and he does not read much Shastra, how will he give us, evaluate our question paper, our answer sheet? And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, no, it's very simple. I told him it's very simple formula how to do it. He said, I told the cook, just go through all the answer sheets and circle how many times they've written Krishna. The person, the most number of times they've written the name Krishna, give him the highest marks accordingly. So that is why our acharyas, they show us that by these examples that even though we pay so much attention and we have to learn the Shastras, we have to develop this consciousness of reading regularly. But the aim or the final conclusion that we have to understand is to understand the glories of the holy name. Reach that particular state where we can appreciate, understand the importance of the holy name, which is the one thing that is going to deliver us in this age of Kali. So in that particular way, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasized the importance of the holy name, just how Shukracharya is elaborating to the Lord. Now, there are other beautiful examples that come. Okay, we see it's also mentioned that Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvam Nama Namina. That this holy name of the Lord is like Chintamani. It's like a desire fulfilling stone. It can fulfill all our desires, especially spiritual desires. And this holy name of the Lord is full of consciousness. It's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It's the embodiment of full consciousness as well as the mellows of higher devotional service. And it is completely pure. It is not that if we are impure and we come in contact with the name will become impure. It's Purna Shuddho and Nitya Mukto. It can deliver us the greatest liberation from this cycle of birth and death and deliver us to the spiritual world in the eternal service for Radha Krishna. Bhinnatvam Nama Namina. And why is it so powerful? Because it is Bhinnatvam, it is non-different from the personality whose name is being chanted. That is Sri Krishna himself. So in this age of Kali, the Lord has appeared in the form of Nam Avatar. He has taken appearance in the form of his holy name, and there's no difference between him and his holy name. So we see that this important shloka is described in our Shastras. Now we see one other example that's described in our Shastras about the power of the holy name. So we see the example of Valmiki Muni. So Valmiki Muni, we understand from the Ramayana, he was a hunter in his previous life, and how when he came in contact with Sri Narad Muni, he came to this realization of what grave sins he was committing. And he was so sinful that even though Narad Muni instructed him to chant the name of Lord Ram, he could not utter the name Ram properly. So, so because of that, his guru, according to time, place, and circumstance, gave him the instruction to chant Mara, and constantly chanting that, he became Ram. And he chanted it with such utmost sincerity that this hunter, who was so had so inimical to other living entities and would kill them without having any regret, had a whole anthill that was formed around him, and that's how he gets the name Valmiki. And with this power of the holy name, he attained so much purity that he was awarded, he was empowered by the Lord, and automatically verses started flowing out from his mouth in a perfect meter, perfect prose, and he was given this benediction to write the pastimes of Lord Sri Ram in what we know as Ramayana today. So that we see is another wonderful example of the power of the holy name that again, Shukracharya is referring to. In another place, Lord Brahma says in Kali Santarana Upanishad, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Iti Shodashtakam Namnam, Kali Kalmashanashanam, Nata Parataropayah, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. That the conclusion of the Vedas is this 16-word mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is the greatest deliverance in the age of Kali. So this is coming from direct our original creator in this material world, who's the secondary creator, and he giving us this instruction after creating this material world, letting us know that if we want to get out of this material world back into our original constitutional position as servants of Sri Radha Krishna, then we have to take shelter of holy name. In another place, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Adi Leela 8.26, he says, Eke Krishna Name Kare Sarva Papa Nasha Premera Karana Bhakti Karena Prakasha. That the holy name of Krishna, even one name chanted with full purity, sincerity, can destroy all the sins that we accumulate in this material world. And it can award us the greatest gift, that is of Krishna Prema Bhakti. So in this particular way, we see that there are so many wonderful examples in our scriptures glorifying the importance of holy name. One other important example that comes in our scriptures is described when in the part of Ramayana, when the monkey army, Lord Ram's army, is going to cross into Lanka, and they have to cross across this great ocean, and then they build a bridge, and the bridge is being built by stones which are floating just with because of the name Ram written on these stones. So in one lecture, I'd heard from a Guru Maharaj that this is such a powerful example to understand that our hearts are like those heavy stones that are sinking in this ocean of material existence. We keep drowning to different depths and falling to different degrees of you know, um, fallacies that we have, shortcomings. However, if our stone-like heart, if we inscribe the name of Ram on our heart, and we chant by chanting regularly and sincerely without offenses, then even our stone-like heart will start floating and be able to escape this ocean of material existence, just like the rocks in the bridge were floating in that ocean by the glories of the holy name. So in this particular way, we see the different examples from the Shastras to illustrate the point that Shukracharya is making here, that Sarvam Karoti Nishchidram Anusankirtanam Tava. That just by chanting your glories, your holy name, the sacrifice, whatever Bali Maharaj was doing, whatever shortcomings were there, have already been fulfilled. In this, he describes this wonderful point. In text 17, Shukracharya goes on to say, however, Lord, because you have given me the order, tav agyanu palanam, because to obey your instructions, your order, I will go proceed and finish the sacrifice that you have instructed me. In text 18, um, Shukdev Goswami continues that then Shukracharya, he engages along with the other Brahmanas to complete the sacrifices which was being performed by Bali Maharaj. So once Bali Maharaj had left for Sutalalok, and Sri Vamandev had acquired all the things that belonged to Bali Maharaj, he then awards them to his brother, the Dau Bhratre Mahindraya, to the great Indra, the entire universe, which he had acquired from Bali Maharaj. In text 2021, all the inhabitants of different lokas, including Kartikeya and Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they all recognize that such a disastrous situation for the demigods was completely overturned, head over heels, and everything turned in favor of the demigods by the appearance of Lord Vamandev. So they declared him to be the supreme protector of everyone. And this we see, when we hear from our acharyas as well. Prabhupada always used to say, um, Rakhe Krishna, Mare King. Mare Krishna, Rakhe King. That if Krishna protects, who can harm us? And if Krishna wants to, Krishna never wants to harm anybody, but if Krishna wants to deliver somebody, then who can protect that person from the material world? So this is what we say, that the power of bhakti. And when we talk about Krishna being an eternal protector, Krishna is the protector, and he awards us protection for our bhakti, the faith that we have in his holy name, in his pastimes, in his leela. Not that he's a protector of our car, of our house. Yes, Krishna will do whatever is needed for us um, to help us continue our bhakti, but he is the protector of our bhakti first and foremost. In text 22 and 23, it is said that all the kings, O King Parikshit, Indra was considered the king of all the universe, and along with all the demigods, they all agreed that Upendra, which is Lord Vamandev, should be the supreme master for everything. And in this particular way, all the living entities became extremely happy. Text 24, it is said that that Indradev, he placed Lord Vamandev before him and they went to the heavenly planet. Now, recently we just had the appearance of Sri Vamandev last week, and I was hearing a lecture. In that lecture, I heard a point that I was not familiar with. So the devotee was explaining in that particular lecture that when Bali Maharaj completely surrenders himself, Atmanivedan, to Lord Vamandev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so pleased with his surrender and so obliged to him that in return he has nothing much to give to him, so he gives himself onto him. So in that particular lecture, it was described that Lord Vamandev actually goes with Bali Maharaj to Sutala and serves as the doorkeeper in Sutala so that he can constantly associate with Bali Maharaj. And to the point that usually in all of Lord's incarnations, when they are in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planet, they are there in different particular planets and Mother Lakshmi is serving them. So in this particular instance, when Vamandev went to Sutala, the Mother Lakshmi, who was there in the spiritual world in the Vaikuntha planet, she was bereft of his association. So she was so much eager to get his association again that she actually took birth as an old woman in the Sutala Lok. And Bali Maharaj was known to be very charitable. So Bali Maharaj was once distributing charity in Sutala Lok, and this Shri Lakshmi Devi, appearing as an old woman, she was allowing everybody else to go ahead in the line to receive charity. And then finally, when her turn came, Bali Maharaj noticed how kind she was. So he said that, Mother, you ask me anything, I'm willing to give you. So at that particular time, Mother Lakshmi takes her original form and prays to Bali Maharaj that Bali Maharaj, I cannot live without my husband. Please allow Sri Vamandev to come back to the spiritual world. So Bali Maharaj, being charitable, he's like, how can that's the only joy I have in life, being in this hellish planet in Sutala Lok, is the association of Sri Vamandev. But still, he agrees to do that. But the Lord, in order to please both his devotees, Mother Lakshmi as well as Bali Maharaj, he he takes an incarnation where he stays with Bali Maharaj as well as one form of him goes to the Vaikuntha Lok with Lakshmi. This was something I learned in this wonderful lecture. In text 25, it is said that the devotees regained the rule of the three worlds, and Indra was reinstated in his own position and became fearless and fully satisfied. Text 26 to 27. Now all the demigods are returning back, and while returning, they are glorifying the uncommon activities of Lord Vamandev. And one other point, if you notice the last point in this shloka, it is said that they praise the position of Aditi. That they were so happy and so blissful because of the position of Mother Aditi, because of her prayers that Sri Vamandev appeared, and they were so grateful and glorifying her. This is a very important point that we should understand that, and this is one thing that we can understand is one of the barometers in bhakti. How much we are advancing in our own bhakti, we can realize when we appreciate what other devotees are doing. Sometimes when other devotees are getting benefited, one may think, oh, why is it only he getting this service? Why am I not getting this service? Or why is he distributing books so nicely and I can't do it? Why? So instead of seeing in this in a competitive mentality, devotees should always praise and recognize the goodness that they're seeing in other devotees. In one particular example, we see it comes in the Mahabharata. Recently, I heard in a lecture about how Lord Hanuman came on to being on the flag of Arjuna's chariot. That when Arjun, during the Mahabharata, before the Mahabharata war, he once had a good opportunity of meeting Sri Hanuman. And when Arjun and Hanuman met, Lord Hanuman was glorifying the glories of Lord Ram, and in that he described how Lord Ram had built this wonderful bridge across the ocean. And Arjun had said, "Oh, that is okay. Like that is something that is just technical skills. If Lord empowers, that anybody can do it." And Hanumanji was saying, no, it's not possible for anybody to do it. It is just by the mercy of Lord Ram that happened. And he said, okay, if you think you can do it, you do it and show me. He said that bridge was so strong that the whole monkey army, who keeps jumping all the time, they were able to cross that bridge without it breaking. So Arjun goes on to build a bridge. I'll just keep it brief. Bridge of arrows, and because out of his own prowess, and Hanumanji goes on the bridge and says Jai Shri Ram and smashes it, and one smash it breaks. So Arjun says, okay, let me try again. And at this time, he fervently prays to the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, for his blessings, that he may uphold his name and his glory, and build a bridge such that Hanumanji cannot break. So he does that, and he tells Hanumanji, okay, now you try. And Hanumanji goes and he tries and starts jumping on the bridge, and the bridge is not breaking this time. But something is wrong. So they both look and see under the bridge, and they see Arjun sees Lord Krishna holding the bridge up, and Hanumanji sees Lord Ram holding the bridge up. And they both notice that Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, their hands are bleeding because of all the cut and the whatever the argument was going on between the two devotees. And then they both realize what grave mistake they have done, that it is because of their argument, their debate, their unhealthy competition, that the Lord was so displeased. So whenever we also have an encounter with devotees, some misunderstanding, some difference in opinion, we should bring it up in a very amicable fashion, because when we cooperate with each other, the Lord is very pleased. But we should also understand that we don't cooperate with each other. When we argue with each other as devotees, the Lord is very displeased and even hurt with our behavior. So in this particular way, we see how all the demigods, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they were so pleased and fortunate that Mother Aditi got this position of facilitating to be the mother of Shiva Mandir. In the next text 28, it goes on to describe the power of hearing this wonderful Leela. Anybody who hears this wonderful Leela of Sri Vaman Dev, they're certainly freed from all results of sinful activities. Sometimes we ask that, oh, I hear so many lectures, but I don't remember. I keep forgetting what I hear. So then I don't know if it's really working or not, if it's really important. No, the point is you don't have to really know how it works. The point is, as long as you keep hearing it, the change is happening inside. One may ask that, what did we eat for lunch on last Wednesday? And we may not remember what I ate for lunch on last Wednesday. That does not mean that eating on the meal on last Wednesday during lunchtime was baseless or fruitless. No, that was important to keep us nourishing. Similarly, what is important for us as Jivatmas is to keep nourishing our soul, not just our material body. And the nourishment for the soul is hearing the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, as described here. And with that, in the last few shlokas, it's concluded that anybody who hears these wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he never has to take birth again, and he's brought back to Godhead. So with this wonderful description, we'll then conclude the Leela of Sri Vaman Dev. Sri Vaman Dev ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavend ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much,
much,
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you all devotees for joining today. Hare Krishna.